Hey guys, welcome to another MapleStory video, and I have another discussion video that I've been wanting to make for quite a while now. Party quests, that stuff we used to do back then, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I don't know why it took me so long to think of this, seeing as that's one of the main grievances the players want, and expectedly I don't think we'll ever see any of these ideas actually being brought back into the game, but I think we've established that it's fun to talk about pipe dreams on the internet because we have nothing better to do. You have no idea how much I miss party training in general, or not even party training. I know this sounds a bit strange seeing as I like to power level solo, which I'll probably still keep doing even if they ever do add back party quests to make them good again, but if anything, they should add in party training for levels 200 to 275, because at that point grinding starts to take multiple hours, and then from 250 onwards, you'll have to spend well over 20 plus hours per level. That's the perfect time to add back party quests and party training, because I personally would rather spend 25 hours training in a party with friends than 20 hours training alone. A lot of players in the game are fiending for PQs to come back since it encourages a community aspect of the game, but I have a feeling if they ever do make party quests good again, maybe 90% of you who want them back probably still won't do them. Give me a second to explain why it's not as simple as just making party quests good again. The thing with party training is that it was always meant to serve as a fun side alternative to training, but not necessarily a faster way to train. Even back then, for example, doing Looty PQ 100 times until you reached level 50 was slower than simply just grinding on regular mobs, but it was fun because you got to hang out with other people during that time, right? Well, we don't really have that mindset anymore. I did mention this before in other videos about how we're more focused on maximizing efficiency because we've tantamounted fun with progress. If you were making progress, you were having fun. No one really henny-hoes these days or spends 5 hours playing drop game like they used to. Everyone's always just trying to get more through their grind. So if we were to bring back party training and party quests, we would have to make them marginally better than solo training. But that would then push a bad ultimatum on players to find parties, and if they couldn't get into a party, they would suffer. In other words, we should never force people to do party quests to train. Oh, and there's also one more problem that would come with party quests because of that maximizing efficiency mentality that we have as gamers. Because we're more educated and more experienced with games and all that, most people will end up trying to just find the most efficient party and to try to clear PQs as fast as possible. And if you joined a super tryhard party and slowed them down by a tiny bit, they would be super toxic and kick you. That kind of mentality did exist back then, but it's not as pervasive as it is right now. Having said all that, I still think it would be cool to have other viable alternatives to training right now. And I think I want to list all the main reasons why party quests and party training were really good things back then, so I can think of better ways to amend that. I should clarify that party training and party quests are two totally different things. Party training just entails normal training by killing monsters and stuff, except that, you're in a party. Party quests are the likes of Looty PQ, Monster Carnival, Nets Pyramid, Romeo and Juliet, etc. Party training in particular was very good because of a multitude of reasons. Back then, experience multipliers, they were few and far between. In fact, the only experience boost you could get was the 2x event Nexon would hand us every now and then. So for the most part, everyone was training on 1x or maybe 2x. And party training granted a 50% bonus experience for each party member that was in the same map as you, up to a bonus total of 300% if you had all 6. That experience will be split up amongst the whole party, but the way party training works, if I remember, is that 60% of the monster kill XP goes to you, with the remaining 40% split up amongst the rest of the party, which means you'd be getting roughly a 180% experience boost or a 1.8 times in a full party, a net gain. Even if you weren't training in a party zone, it was sometimes good to form a party just by simple gestalt. I'm sure you've heard this dynamic before where 2 people could accomplish more together than the sum of their individual efforts. Large maps like Haunted Castle's Twisted Gestures were great because you could easily fit 3 to 4 players in one channel due to the size of the map. Therefore, if you could cover more of the map, then you could clear more, which meant more experience. 2 factors came into play that almost completely overshadow party training at this point: EXP multipliers and power creep, just general power creep. Pretty much every class in the game wipes out the whole map instantly. So needless to say, even if you didn't have very high damage, you could still cover a lot of area on your own. Back in the day, you could really only attack maybe a small area in front of you, but now every class, especially 5th job, can one-shot the whole map. And then we bring in spawn enhancers like Kishin, Fury, and Frenzy Totem, which makes smaller maps heaven on earth to train in, so there's no point in training in a party if you clear the whole map out in no time flat. In the days of LHC and Night Stronghold, you needed a lot of people to effectively take out, say, a Crocky, since fighting a Crocky the Gatekeeper yourself would take 7 minutes or something like that. It was really difficult to train on your own, so training with the party made sense since your total kill power would be more efficient than training by yourself. But nowadays damage scaling has gone really high because of the damage cap being 10 billion as opposed to the 1 million in 2012 or whatever. Also, there are experience multipliers. Because experience distribution works on the killer taking 60% and the others taking 40%, the value of EXP boosters diminishes a lot. We have like 40 ways to raise your experience that don't really work in the party EXP formula, so there's another reason why party training is so much worse these days. Okay, so party quests, I'm sure you guys already know why they've fallen out of favor. Fixed spawn rate and or fixed experience rate, crappy rewards, things like that. Party quests were really good back in the day because they were equal contenders to training, but more fun because you got to hang out with other players. But the problem with PQs is that they don't scale. We did have quest EXP coupons in the cash app for a while and then Nexon took it down, but even that wouldn't work because the XP multipliers don't work on a quest rewarded EXP. So 2x events, 2x cards, link skills, just to name a few, they don't work. We could argue that there are some PQs that do have mobs that you can kill that give you multiplicative EXP, like Dimension Invasion, Nets Pyramid, Oswan PQ and stuff, and for a time all of those PQs were actually top tier training spots, and then came Kishin Shokan and then Frenzy Totem, and as you know, those places became obsolete very quickly. Probably the only PQ that survived long enough was Romeo and Juliet PQ because there was like a grindable spot in the middle of it. It was like the best place to train from 70 to 120, a huge level range, and then Nexon nerfed that to the ground. Also, every party quest provided some decently valuable piece of equipment like Spiegelman's necklace, Immortal Pharaoh belt, Romeo and Juliet's pendant. All of these were really good because equipment sets were not a thing back then, so they were like very unique items you had to go and search for until you eventually filled up all of your equipment. And then Nexon released standardized sets like CRA, Tyrants, Empress Gear, Abslab, Arcane, Golux, Sweetwater, and now none of those equips are even remotely close to good. Heck, Zakum Helm was an amazing item for almost 8 years before it got knocked down by a freaking Pencilier item which drops from literally every mob. Needless to say, party training and PQs are outdated and need to be updated to match the speed of training. I still stand firmly that grinding should always be a viable option to train because the biggest weakness with PQs is the inherent need to find a party, and sometimes that's just not always possible. Back in the day you could easily find a party, but population has seen better days. I got down to thinking of ways you can bring back both without it being exploitable, since the main reason Nexon nerfed party training in the first place was because people abused the living hell out of it to get to 250 back in 2013. Party training, let's tackle that one first. Since the two biggest issues with party training's lack of appeal comes with the fact that every class can one-shot the whole map and experience multipliers are more prevalent, the best changes I can think of are to make it so that for every party member that you have in your party at the time you kill a mob, all of them being in combat of course, the base experience of that mob will go up by a percentage. I say base experience because it means additive bonuses to experience will also be more effective, making experience boosters a lot better since hypothetically, you kill a monster with 500,000 experience and then you have a 50% booster, you'd be getting 750k. But if the base experience goes to 600k, a 50% booster will bring it to 900k, making that 50% bonus way more beneficial. And then stacks per party. That would also mean that bigger maps can be viable training spots too, since bigger maps have a higher spawn cap, so even if we did use spawn enhancers like Frenzy, Kishin, and Fury Totem, it would work great. And if you have a party, you can take on a larger size map for a more overall gain. Second, we should change experience boosters to stack together in a party with diminishing returns of course to prevent overpowered training. So let's say we have one player who's on 2x experience and another who's on 4x. They should make it so that a portion of the experience bonus each player has are tallied up together and then given to each individual party member as a bonus. Let's say 10% of each party member's EXP multiplier adds up, so 0.2 plus 0.4 means that each party member will then be on 0.6 experience more. The 2x experience player will be on 2.6 and the 4x experience player will be on 4.6. And then if we have more party members, like 2 more with 4x, then we can add another 8x on top, so everyone would get 1.4x more experience. Sounds like a lot, but remember, since party training experience is distributed 60-40, it roughly balances itself out so long as everyone is training. That can also allow for older training maps like LHC and Night Stronghold to become viable options again, since the spawn rate of those maps were really low in favor of the monsters being really strong and giving a lot of EXP. Party quests, I think, are a lot tougher to manage since I already mentioned that most PQs have a fixed spawn rate and or experience rate. Generally speaking, all PQ's experience reward should scale from your EXP multiplier regardless of if it's a quest or if it's in-game mobs. But for fixed EXP party quests, they should make it so the higher level party quest reward experience that's actually worth the time you spend on that party quest. Quest EXP reward is massive at lower levels, like some of them just give you straight up a full level, but then when you reach 180 plus, quests give you not even like 1%. Training, on the other hand, maintains its pace of growth much more consistently than PQs do. PQs that have grindable spots like Romeo and Juliet should also have that bonus experience gain mechanic from party training, and I think I know a way to balance out monsters so that super funded players won't completely abuse this and unfunded players can still get a viable decent reward. We can scale the PQ mob's HP based on the average star force or like arcane force of the party, similar to MapleStory 2's fair fight mechanic, but like not as stifling. So super funded players will still be able to clear and train much more efficiently than unfunded players, but it just would not be a total wash. Lastly, I think the rewards for PQs need to be updated. Instead of giving outdated equipment, they should give universal rewards that we see in almost every event. Clean slate scrolls, attack buffs, cube fragments, or potential stands, pot scrolls, things like that. Or maybe party quest currency that you can redeem in the party quest zone for cool items, kind of like how they do Crossworld PQ. Just a little more incentive other than training that makes party quests and party training more enticing. But past that point, when training gets much more difficult, I would not mind training in a party at all. In fact, training would be a lot more fun if I could do that. Just get in a Discord call with 5 others and fool around for about 3 hours while we're trained at 275. But this will be helpful for all levels. Unfunded players can enjoy a less grueling pace of progress when training Link skills and Legion, for example. It can also help both funded and unfunded players with the rewards that they provide, such as the coin shop idea that I proposed, similar to how there's a Legion coin shop. I don't know, this is all just wishful thinking, but if by some cosmic stroke of luck Nexon does watch this video, then maybe this could be a good revamp for you to consider. But for the rest of you guys, that's going to be it for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any cool ideas for how Nexon can make party training and PQs better. They're gonna have to take a different approach with it than what they used to do back then, since the gaming community is totally different. But if you enjoyed, a rating would be much appreciated, and let me know if you want me to make more videos like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon in the next video. Take care.